Welcome to Different Thought, where we say, God be you through me. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Different Thought, where we examine the culture. I'm your host, Mike Hayes, and this is my co-host today,
Malcolm Mickey Harris. What's poppin'?
And our special guest,
Genesis.
artist, philanthropist, businessman, mogul, whatever you want to call it. You know, we have Genesis the Greykid on the show.
Honored to be here.
Hey, honored to have you, brother.
Yeah,
honored to have
you.
you, man. Appreciate you having me. Appreciate you being on the show with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just give y'all a little background. So, what was it? Thursday? 2 days ago?
I believe so.
Thursday, I reached out to Genesis and we were like, "Hey, man, we want to bring you on the show." He was like, "Let's go right now." In the 3 days that I've hung out with you, I have learned a little bit about myself, a little bit about just in moving forward. So I always believe in giving people their flowers when it's time. And you know, man, one thing I applaud Genesis about is in the moment.
Mm.
He doesn't hold and say, let's wait, let's do this another time or do it. Hey man, you ready to go now. So one thing I learned is always be ready for the moment.
Absolutely.
When we rolled up on Genesis, Cal and I rolled up on him, he was like, let's record right now. And I was like, bro, I ain't got no mic. I ain't ready, man. So appreciate it, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Glad to have you here. So this is gonna be one of the last times we do this, but on the show Genesis, we do this thing called Take a Shot for You and Straight Like That. So we're moving to a space where we're gonna actually create our own another spin-off show from this called Take a Shot for You. But since we're here now, so Take a Shot for You is basically where we're acknowledging somebody, bigging up somebody, or hey man, you have driven me to the point of, you know, alcohol. so I'll kick it off. So my shot is for one, my son's baseball team. We just got off the ball field. The East Burner Hot Rod 6 under league. You know, all those guys, man, you know, their parents have been great. This is my first year coaching, so I have enjoyed that. I don't know if I should be drinking to 6-year-olds, so I'll take a shot of water.
I take a shot too.
And you know that that being that, and then on top of that, hey man, I'm gonna take a shot to you, brother.
Oh, wow.
Malcolm has just joined the team. This is his what 5th episode on the team.
Yeah.
So you know, again, one thing in this season of my life I've learned about taking advantage of the moment, taking the first step. Again, with Malcolm, I reached out to Malcolm, what was that, about a month ago?
Yeah.
And was like, hey, man, when you think about coming on to another podcast, let's do it. It wasn't no, let's figure this out, let's do that, da-da-da-da. He was like, let's go. So thank you, gentlemen, for, you know, helping me out with that.
Absolutely.
And then I'll turn it over to you, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Who's your shot for? Well, hold on. I have a New York sour, so.
Got a little something here. My shot is going to be to the city of Chattanooga, y'all. Y'all, this city is changing, like, in front of our very eyes every day. Like, exponentially.
Yeah.
And to be able to see it, be a witness, be a beneficiary, like, I'm super excited for what's to come. So the shot is for the city.
What you drinking, brother?
Little Crown Apple. We'll be sponsored one day.
That's the goal, bro.
I love
Genesis.
Crown. Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot for God. That's my homie right there. So this is for God.
So for those of you that don't know, Genesis just opened he just opened up a new restaurant lounge vibe called Home, and the opening quote was actually from a painting of Genesis.
Yeah.
And I'll get Cal to show the painting on our YouTube when we do air this episode. But it's a whole saying, and Genesis it's a longer saying. It's a longer saying, but anybody that has seen Genesis work, sometimes he has these hidden messages where he circles things, and it says, God be you through me. So I figured I grabbed that one out and run with that. It's actually in his in the restaurant home right now, so that's where I got that quote from. I try to, when we have guests that have poetry or stuff like that, I try to pull them in on that tip. So in that, we're gonna go to the next part, is straight like that. So Genesis, straight like that is basically get it off your chest. It's a hot take. We're not here to debate about it. We're just gonna say what it is and move on. I'll start again. My hot take, or straight like that today, is OJ. This OJ. Our culture is a little bit perplexed on. Yeah, the juice is a little bit perplexed on what to really, how to really accept this passing. Because on the football field, the man was a legend.
One of the best running backs of all time.
Yes, exactly.
Easily.
And
I agree.
so my hot take is this: stop being to the nation, to the world. Stop being so double standard. When Rodney King was beaten by four police officers and they were acquitted, we never heard anything about them going forward.
Absolutely.
OJ he went to trial, he went through the justice system, and he was found not guilty for the crimes of murdering his ex-wife and her boyfriend at the time. And for some reason, when I was watching ESPN, they were taking sides and, I don't feel sorry, and this saying things of that nature. And it was just like, hey man, it's still a human being that died, and he was acquitted. Whether you believe he was guilty or not, if we're supposed to put our faith in the justice system, then put our faith in the justice system. He was acquitted, leave him alone. And that's my hot take.
I love that hot take. I think at the end of the day, that's somebody's son, somebody's father, somebody's brother, somebody's friend. Like, regardless of where you stand, like,
leave your comments to yourself.
Yeah, he went through the process, dog. Yeah. Like, he went through the process, and I hate to see when somebody passes away, you throw the dirt, but the day before, the seeds were nowhere to be found.
Exactly.
That's weird. So, no, I'm all with that. My straight like that is that I think Future is a better R&B singer than Luther Vandross.
Whoa. I'd love to hear more on this.
I'm here. I think
Future.
But
wait, we can't debate this? Is that the rules?
No, we can debate this.
Okay. I'd love to.
Not supposed to, but
okay.
Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, straight like
and
that.
You know what? You may be right. I've struggled with seeing that perspective. I have to guide me through this.
I just this latest album, we're gonna get to a whole hip hop conversation.
Okay.
But this latest album with Metro that dropped yesterday, it's nothing short of spectacular. A tear came to my eye when I heard certain songs. Yeah, for sure.
And it came out yesterday.
Yeah.
You young.
Yeah, but I'm ready. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm ready. Okay.
You may be young, but I'm ready.
Future Vandross is just a different type of human being. So that is my straight like that, brother.
Man, I think
artist out right now, in my opinion, is better than Luther.
Yeah, whenever I listen.
Hold on, which Luther?
He's talking about Luther Vandross.
The fat one?
I'm talking.
This
it don't even
Luther
matter, man.
Just in general.
Yeah.
Future in 5, Gentleman's Suite.
Wow.
Straight like
wowzers.
that.
All right, Genesis, man. You got it.
Well,
you're gonna kick me off the show.
Nah, that was wild.
I was just giving you your flowers, bro.
Right. No, shout out to Future. He's a phenomenal artist.
Yes, sir.
I disagree, but I think that's very, very cool that Future Vandross is your guy.
You hear how it just comes off?
It kind of does flow a little bit. But I still would pick Luther over Future any day.
Any day.
But
I did grow up with him every Saturday morning, so
With Future?
No.
With Luther, yeah.
I grew up with Future every Saturday.
I can't imagine my granny, if she grew up to Future, if she'd be the same granny. I feel like her food is so good because some of the music, some of the the entire atmosphere went into her nervous system,
Yeah.
that went into the food.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how, and you know, it may not be a bad thing, but I'm wondering like the young women that future is they Luther. I wonder how it's gonna spill over into the legacy of that.
That's a dope take.
You know, the food and the cuisine and how they reared the children or how they got them. I'm curious how that's gonna. But anyway, I got sidetracked.
Such a
What's your straight
my
like that?
my
hot
straight
take?
like that. I think Cole and Kendrick battling is good for hip hop. You know,
We kind of touched on this.
you know,
we met up.
yeah. I think I love Cole. I love Kendrick. They're beautiful brothers, and that apology was beautiful too. But hip hop is a competitive sport and
It's a
different
sport.
than rap to me.
I
And
agree.
so you got two lyricists, well, three lyricists, sort of, if you include, you know. And it's like, I don't know, I think it's good for hip hop seeing them battle.
Cool.
It's not a popular opinion right now.
No, it's not. But it is what it is. So, all right, let's get into this discussion. So, Genesis, me and you have talked a couple of times now, and we've had this debate. I've told you several times, like, you know, at the end of the day, I want to be a good dude, and you kept trying to pry more out of me about this. Pause. I guess I don't know if that's needed or not, but
We can throw one in there.
Like parsley.
and so, one of the things I when I think about being a good guy is believing in leading with love. And one thing I've noticed in a lot of your work, as far as your artwork, the word love is always tied in there some way. You know, looking at your artwork at home, it was love on the ceiling. It's love in the art, the piece that I read about. It's love. It's something about that word love. So I want to get your take on it. Like, you know, what is it? Let me ask you this: what in your mind makes you determine if someone is good or not? Because we haven't had this discussion. Because you kept questioning me that question, but I was like, I wanted to wait till we got on this and see, so it's fresh. What's your definition of being a good person?
It's a tricky thing. I don't know if there's a good. I'm still trying to figure it out. I think I have some ideas of what good looks like, but the older I get, the more life kind of has a way of showing you things. And so what you thought was good, then you realize you get older and you're like, oh man, grew up drinking milk, and then you're like, oh okay, milk is not good for you. And then you grow up believing. And so even with spiritual things, you might grow up believing one thing, and then you experience God, and then you're like, whoa, this is okay. And then you get to go on a real safari and really explore the wildness and how big this divine thing is. And the word good, I mean, I don't know. Some cultures, there's things that I do here that would be considered not cool. But then here is, every time I think I know what good is, I'm shown something different. So I don't know if anything's 100%. Most of it is a gut feeling, like checking the temperature with your hand out the window. It's more like that. So it's like, yeah, they feel cool. Yeah, I think they cool.
Well, and I guess for me, it's more so when you asked me this question, I never answered it, but I'm giving you my answer now. But for me, it's more so like I can live with the decision. Like, I know that I've tried to do the best for me, in my opinion, the best.
Yeah.
Now, it may be taken differently in other situations. However, for me, if I can live with that decision, I'm good with it. If it doesn't sit right with me, then, and I try to use my moral and spiritual apparatus and beliefs to guide me to make those decisions. And, you know, there may be times in which, you know, I make a decision that's not popular to everyone else, but if I can at least say to myself, like, I tried to do right by this person or do right by the situation, whether it may not end up right, but I did do my best to do that. And I want people that are close to me to know that. I don't necessarily care about people that I don't know, because I can't change everybody's opinion about me. But the people who are close to me, the Malcolms, the Genesis, the Chucks, the Cows, the J-Mac, shout out to J-Mac that's not here today. But those type people, if they can say, you know, I know Mike to be a good person, I know that he wouldn't do something in malice to cut me down. That's always been my kind of my baseline, I guess. Malcolm, you got anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think it's just all about mentality, and I think it's all about how you carry yourself. You know, aura really does go a long way, and you know, everything in life is earned, but you can control your destiny if you truly are a good person. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you truly are genuine and you truly provide value, doors and opportunities will open that you don't even think of.
Yeah.
You know what's wild is, like, once you get into the throes of life, like, outside of the depth of it, like, I completely track with what you're saying. But then as you go deeper into it, she gets pregnant and she doesn't want to have the baby. She can live with the decision. It's pretty far along. It's like, you know.
I get what you're
And then maybe she leaves the baby on the doorstep. The baby goes to an awful family that abuses this child for the next 15 years. Yeah. But the mother can live with it. Yeah. And she's okay with it. Does that make her a good person? The child gets molested for 20, plus years. It's like, I feel like once we get, or even war, like Ukraine and Russia, both of them have Catholic popes and priests or whatever praying over each side, or whoever the rabbi, whoever is praying over each team.
I look at that.
There's probably good guys on each side of the war,
For sure.
and God's listening to both. What God's gonna be like? Oh man, I'm gonna go with it. Like,
so I look at that type of situation, kind of how we were talking about yesterday when we were eating at Gilman's Grill, and we were talking about the
shout out to Gilman.
Yeah, the young lady that came up to us. Looking for some food or something.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I gave you my spiel. Like, I'm one to always, if I got it, and someone asks us for it, if I can, I'm gonna provide for them.
Yeah, me too.
Now, what they do once I give it to them is not on me; it's on the person that I gave it to.
Right.
And so, because I don't look at. And that's another discussion I want to have, is I don't look at, like, the money as I earned it. I looked at money as, like, God blessed me with this to be able to provide for others. And so if they choose to do something outlandish or something that doesn't line up with what I believe in, that's on them in their walk with whoever they believe in, and not on me. And so to your scenario with the woman that has a baby and leaves it on the doorstep, she didn't kill the baby, but it's really upon the people who take the baby. But
one could argue that she tortures the baby by not doing her due diligence, leaving it at a random doorstep.
I think this discussion of good versus bad is very it's not as cut and dry.
I don't believe it is. Every year that goes by,
I live by this motto that my dad used to tell me all the time is just keep waking up. Keep waking up. You think you know, but keep waking up, because you never know, depending on the situation, you just never know what you're going to, what kind of situation you're going to be in, to where you have to make certain decisions that you thought you would never make.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is like not looking at things from always as a cut and dry. There's a gray area.
This is old line that I wrote back in maybe 2008. A good buddy of mine, he got really, really high rank in, I don't know what it is, the Army, but the ones they'll send like 8 of them in. You know what I'm talking about? It's he not with like the group.
Yeah, like
they'll be like, nah, you 12, y'all go in before we send the whole crew. Y'all do your thing. He was like real ill. It's like He was a shooter. What do you call it? Sniper.
Sniper.
And so he went to this church. I can't go into too much detail. He just went into this church and it was a mess. And he hurt a lot of innocent people. So he took the photos. He carries them around with him in this little shoebox. He doesn't anymore, but he used to. He'd bring it at the bar, and it's like a bunch of headshots that he just kind of looks over. It really messed him up. And we call it eating a Bible when you take 1,000 hits of acid in 30 days. So he ate a Bible because he had to wipe his mind from all the, but it was an order that he got because there was
he just followed his order.
But there was like a really evil person that was kind of using this temple as a way to protect him, as a shield, because there were people that had nothing to do with the war in here. So their role is to accept everyone. But now it put them into jeopardy to where they all died. Giving this guy love. And my homeboy was part of that. And he's a good guy, but he just slaughtered a bunch of people because somebody told him to. That's 1,000 miles away on a walkie-talkie. Like, my whole understanding of good and bad is just every time I think I know it, I don't. And I think there almost just might be like it just is.
Well, and that's kind of where I was getting at. And that's kind of what I was getting at. Is like being a good person is not you set the standard today and you live by it the rest of your life. It's an evolving conversation, conflict with yourself. Like, hey, I'm in these situations and, I'm going to let the divine, I'm going to let something lead me and guide my moral compass. And, there may be situations where I thought my intentions were good.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't.
That's happened a bunch of times for me. I just think I think we hanging out. Yeah. We kicking it. We go see a movie. This before I was married. You know what I'm saying? We go see a movie, go out to eat. Then you know what I'm saying? And now they feel some type of way. And I'm like, oh, man, I thought we were just playing. I didn't know you wanted to be for real. It'd be, I had to learn through that too. Like, and my spirituality kind of kept me out of the streets like that. So it wasn't too many of those. But
let's talk about that, man. So I've done a little research. I know that you come from a military family background. You jumped around a lot. I shout out Iggy Loudmouth.
Iggy, good people.
And I use Iggy as a point of reference with some of these questions. And you talked about in there how you moved around a lot, and there were times where you struggled, and your family struggled, and there were times that y'all didn't struggle and things of that nature. But I guess the thing that intrigues me a lot is in our discussions was when you were talking about how you started in, I can't remember what city, and you went all around.
Oh yeah, from Atlanta to Atlanta, going down to the Mexican border and going along the border, then the California coast up near Washington, then across to Montana.
In that journey, man? Like, cause I'm always fascinated with people like this because it's one thing to take a journey and have all the comforts of life, but you were like, hey, I'm gonna get comfortable. One thing you used to say is like, I'm gonna get comfortable with being at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
To build my foundation.
Yeah, I left maybe with $40 in my checking account.
Like, explain that, man. Like that.
I needed to get more familiar with like how far did I want to go with this whole creative artistic journey. Why was I doing it? It's important to ask yourself those kind of hard questions. Like, all right, why am I doing a podcast? Why am I making art? Why am I selling it for this much? Like, what? Why do I have a restaurant? I like to sit with myself to try to figure out, because I can fool myself so easily, and I'm sure we all kind of struggle with that sometimes. And so I just wanted to make sure my mind and my body, and like we all was on the same page. Like, yo, bro, why? Okay, so why do you want to go this route? Why do you want to do this? And me taking that trip was a part of that. I had a little notebook and I asked random people what's write one sentence on what they felt like the key to happiness was. Some random question, something like that. And they all wrote it down in their own hand. Homeless people, wealthy people, anybody I met, just and yeah, I think I learned how to be comfortable with nothing.
I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, man, but I strive to do this, but you really embody this. It's a poem called "If" by Rudyard Kipling. I think all of us in this room know it. For other reasons that Genesis made that, but and there's a line in there that I try to live by, but you beat me every time. If you could walk with kings nor lose the common touch.
Yeah.
Like,
if you can wait and not be tired of waiting,
man.
if you can do, yeah, I know that whole poem.
All right.
Yeah, you have to treat both the triumphs and both the same, because they are imposters that intrude into your life. There's been times where, man, I done lost so many bags. It's crazy. Like, there's been projects where I'm thinking, just about, I probably done lost 50 bags, like life-changing bags, where this person said no. Like 8 people said 10. It's the last person that we need for a yes, and it's a no. Or I met somebody on the wrong day. Maybe I had too much to drink and I was just too open, and I'm not gonna say too honest, because I'm a big believer in truth. But in business, it's like you can't. It's weird, man. I'm an artist, but I'm doing a lot of business, and it's kind of weird sometimes, because it's like I know everyone's got their cards close to the chest, right, and I'm kind of used to having them like this, like with them laid out. And so I done lost deals just being too open, just, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, really? Oh, tell me what else? And I'm like, oh yeah, man. And so blah, blah, blah. And I'm just, because I'm excited. Then I found out, that they went ahead and went in this direction because they took your idea and they just did it cheaper, and they took this person that you was going to grab, and this is, and it's, so you start to learn like, okay, everybody don't think like you. You gotta,
I'm glad you talked about that, because you keep leading me into the next part, the next question. One thing in my short 3 days of hanging out with you, man, your business acumen, I don't think is discussed enough.
I appreciate it.
The crowds you roll in, the we were sitting down yesterday and talking, and the random people that were just pulling up, and I was just like, I didn't expect this. I kept saying, I didn't expect this either. I didn't expect to be in this situation. I didn't expect to be. How did you describe that? Like, how did you get to this point where
love?
You're honestly like just cool with everybody.
Man, love. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, man. I saw it growing up so much. I got some spectacular parents, and they love each other real deep. They love me real deep.
For sure.
So I believed I could do anything from being really little, which gave me a lot of courage to take a lot of unnecessary risks, where I'm like, all right, I don't have any money. Let's see if I can live in New York for like a year. And I'll go to New York with like $100. And I'll try to work a play, and, eating dollar pieces every day but I didn't have to, because I have great parents. I could have went back to the house, but I felt it was necessary. I had already left the engineering firm. That was my last job, like in 2010. Yeah, I used to be at an engineering firm.
Word?
I like solving problems, man. Yeah. Yeah, so I was at an engineering firm, and I left in 2010. That was the last job that I worked.
So were you an engineer, or you just?
Yeah, but they told me not to. I didn't have a degree, and it was like, look, don't tell nobody you ain't got a degree. But
wow.
But I took Cal 1, 2, and 3, and differential equations and all that stuff, because I love math. And so I showed them I had those credits, and they was like, all right, we're gonna pay you a little less than the brothers with the degree, so they don't get all mad, but come through.
That's dope. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found that out.
I linked up with them off of love. Love will
Wow.
get you a lot of places.
Love will
I
get you a
didn't,
lot of
man. I didn't have no degree, and they was like, "You're an engineer."
I want you to take this the wrong way, but talking to you, man, I feel like you are our black Forrest Gump. Like you end
I
up,
may not be a smart man, but
and I ain't even saying like whether your intelligence. I'm just, if you follow the story of Forrest Gump, he just ended up in all these.
man, he had a lot of
Interesting
love
spots.
in him. I love the movie.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I
to watch.
love the movie.
When I get sad, and I'll never trust a woman named Jenny.
Oh
The
yeah,
most diabolical villain of all time.
You
Bro,
know,
she-
she did him cold.
She needs to
man.
get out of the paint immediately.
She came back after she already done. Oh come on,
Come on.
man!
Come
it was
on.
it was bad.
You
And
know what I'm saying?
he was still there.
Still,
That's love. I mean, God do that for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
That hit me
we be
like-
wilding
Yeah,
out.
That's a bar.
God would do that for us.
I mean, God is
would.
doing that for us.
Every
We
day.
mess up all the time.
Yeah.
You right.
Yeah, some
right.
people. Man, I just love. I can talk about God all day, but it's just like, the older I get, man, the more I realize how much I don't know. And I love this place that I'm
The
in.
man that thinks he knows everything, knows he knows nothing at all.
Yeah, I used to just thought, oh, well, that's a cool saying, but it's real. And this is just, it's cool, man. I'm learning a lot.
That's what's up, man. I you just blew my mind. Like, I used to think it was. Forgive me, people. Forgive me, my Caucasian listeners, but I'm just gonna say it. I used to think that things like that, getting hired at an engineering firm without a degree, were only things that happen to white folks. Like, I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I never met somebody that maneuvered their way, like you did in the engineering firm and things of that nature.
Love, man.
I believe you.
Even if people don't like you, after a while, if you reflect enough love, they'll start feeling weird about not liking you. Like, why don't I like?
Yeah.
Like, they cool. Why? What? Like, they start to and I think God can work in that space.
What was the saying? A new saying out just now is like, if my ops actually knew me, they wouldn't be my ops.
Yeah.
You embodied it. Like,
Yeah, I think that whole op thing is. I know everybody got their pain and trauma. I just wish.
well, a lot of
We
times.
kind of talked about this before. I just wish we all loved each other a little more. I feel like we're malnourished of love, and it makes us more desperate for it. So we cling to things that are poisonous and that are nowhere near love. But it just we don't know what it looks like. So I don't know, man. It's getting weird.
So I want to go back to this. You talking about your parents, man, and I mean, like, what was that conversation like when you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna just travel and see where I live"?
Well, they was scared with me leaving that firm
Yeah.
because I had a house mortgage, car note. They were like, "How you gonna pay for stuff?"
How did you?
And I was like, I was willing to lose it. You gotta, and that's why I would practice all those little things. You gotta understand that there's no guarantee that just because you feel it is there. Just because you want it is gonna happen. There was a possibility that I would never make any money selling art or poetry or writing music. You have to be open to that possibility. And once you accept that, you're not afraid. So I was like, what if you lose your house? I'll just call some friends, see if I can sleep on their couch. What if this is before Uber and Lyft? They're like, where you lose your car? I'll walk. I'll catch a bus. I'll call a friend. You have to figure out how much you want it. And once it's like, well, I ain't trying to ride no bus, or I don't want to walk, well, then that's cool. But now you know you want it up to the point of walking. I wanted it to the point of death. Like, I'll sleep on a park bench. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
And once you cross that line, oh, you take all the risks in the world.
That brings you to the next thing. Like one thing, in you know, I've seen and watching how you move is you tend to congratulate like low moments.
Hmm.
Like Iggy, he was talking about his divorce, and then in my situation that we talked about outside of this, you were like, congratulations.
Hmm.
Like what got you to that point? Like you seem to really meet failure with like
Optimism.
yes,
Yeah.
like you embody this like
Pain.
yeah.
Yeah, well, pain got me there.
Oh,
Yeah, and then when you can look at pain or sadness and you can pick it up and move it around, like you start to understand what it is. It doesn't change it from being painful or sadness. It just turns into something that you can understand. So I think, and to answer your question, I don't want to say it's like alchemy, but it's a little similar. I'm losing the words that I'm trying to say, but yeah, I congratulate all the moments, especially the ones that appear to be negative, because I grew and learned so much through negative things. I went through a divorce. When I got offered a record deal at Atlantic Records, I was writing for people, and I turned it down. And my wife at the time, she went to work at a bank, got me to move my money over, and I didn't have much at the time. And she took the money, took the car, and dipped.
dang.
Yeah, and so I got around some older homies, and and one of them was like, "Congratulations, bro," and that kind of stuck with me.
Yeah,
But
man.
it came from a lot of moments
What-
of that
what-
appeared to be painful at the time.
But when you said it to me, and I heard you say it to Iggy, I was like, that actually makes sense because
Yeah.
a lot of people will be like, "Oh man, I'm sorry about your loss," but it's like I think Iggy said it best. He was like, "But if it was really a loss, then we were meant to be together. But if
Right.
we get to a point and we don't,
But you not,
and we
then
not,
you not.
This is
Yeah,
good for
this
both
is
of
good.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And especially if you got kids, or if you have a career that you want to pour your soul into, you can't you can't be the best version of that if you're miserable and you're not happy.
yeah.
I got some homies in that situation now. They in a long-term relationship with kids and they hate it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and their kids see it.
So
You know.
just adding on to that, you mentioned your first wife and divorce and hip hop. You have a very interesting like background story. I'm not gonna ask you who you ghostwrited for because I know ghostwriting is like
Yeah. Can't say
you
nothing
gotta
about
keep
it.
that.
Yeah.
You gotta keep that on the wraps.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I know you were almost. You were signed to Dame Dash, right? Or
Well, Creative Control TV. More
Okay.
Cootie and Chike, that's their company.
Okay.
Dame Dash was DD172.
gotcha.
That was in Tribeca. Those are some good times.
Explain that experience. Like, give us a little bit more insight on that experience. Like, what was that like? For
Oh
you?
man, it was a big art gallery that had apartments at the bottom, and Dame wanted to build at the top. It's the most expensive zip code in Manhattan, and I mean, from Black Keys, Erykah Badu, Mayweather, to Muhammad Ali, to Layla Ali, Cootie Chike, Action Bronson, Joey Badass. It's the list literally goes on, and that's who we trained with. That was the dojo. That's what we called it, the dojo. And so, as creatives, you're around some of the best, and we pushing on each other. VP of Ralph Lauren, Audrey Schultz, shout out to her. She's a OG. Like she roommated with Salvador Dali.
Wow.
Like her Rolodex is crazy. So you in there with her, and it's like you throwing around ideas, and I'm talking about some fat. Like, what about push some scarves? She's like, oh well, da da da. And then Mayweather come up or the Black Keys or whoever. Like you're in a place where everyone is some of the best at what they do. and I miss it. It was a great environment. I'd love for something like that to pop up in Chattanooga.
What?
There's some small pockets where people are doing things, and I think that's cool. But
And, I kind of hinted to you about like that's something that I want to recreate here.
Yeah.
Is that Motown is vibe of like iron sharpening iron and working with other creatives and getting together, and you embody it because in our discussion yesterday or Friday, I pull up and this man is talking to a photographer, and it's Kate, right?
Katie, from Vietnam.
And Katie, he was talking about putting on a art exhibit and all these things, and I pulled Katie to the side because I could look at Katie and I could tell she was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But she was like, "I'm gonna go down this road with this person because he's giving me this platform and working with me." And as we were leaving, I forget the building that we went and visited.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna say it out loud because I want it to be a surprise when people see the show.
When we were leaving that, and I was just like, "Well, Katie, I noticed that you seem a little over." And she was just like, "I am." She was like, "I've never had someone say, 'All right, go do it.'" Like it's usually like a lot of times, and I learned this from you again, is because I am that person. I'm like, there's steps to get to this end result that I want to. Whereas you are like, nah, man, just go ahead and do it. Like, you said it on Iggy's show, like, oh, I ain't right. I ain't there yet. I ain't good yet. I ain't geared yet to be an artist yet. So like, I guess let's kind of switch things up a little bit. Let's talk about hip hop. Like your viewpoint on the state of hip hop, since you've written, you've put stuff out, you've ghostwritten, you're a poet, you're an artist. What's your state? What's your observation of the state of hip hop? Like, what do you?
Man, I love it. I love where it's at. Yeah, I mean, it can't stay the same. It can't be how it was. It always has to evolve.
Yeah.
So no, I like it, man. I appreciate the young homies coming out. I appreciate the guys still in it, Jadakiss and all those fellas.
Jadakiss one of my favorites.
Oh, Jadakiss, man, he a beast.
Jadakiss.
But I think like it's stuff like that's good for hip hop though. That Cole and Kendrick thing, they ain't gonna pull up and do nothing to each other because they love each other.
Yeah.
They just competitive. Cole saying he number one. He said he Muhammad Ali. Well, Ali's the greatest. So every hip hop artist probably feel like they're the greatest if they really pushing it like that.
Yeah.
And if you
that's
do,
what you're supposed to do,
right? And
I
if
always
you,
had a problem with people. When people have a problem with people saying I'm the best, I'm like, if I'm getting into any field, I want to be regarded as the best. So I'm going to say
if you're in a competitive sport,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense. But you don't have to want to be the best. I get that too. But if you say you Muhammad Ali, you say the Spider-Man is me looking. It's like you saying you the GOAT, you the greatest. Let's see what that looks like going up against another person that says they're the greatest.
I was just so upset with J. Cole.
Why?
I was.
You think he went too far?
This man sent us a text the next morning when he
Oh,
apologized.
Cole text you?
No, he did.
Oh,
He said we have a group text amongst the team.
Yeah.
And he was just like, Cole had us up he had me up all
I
night.
couldn't sleep.
so are you disappointed in Cole?
I'm disappointed in Cole.
And
And
the
I'll say
apology.
it.
At the verse or the apology?
At the apology.
Please elaborate.
Yes.
Simply for me, how he delivered it from first person shooter, as well as the 7-minute track.
Yeah.
The things that he said and the delivery, I've never heard something like that out of J. Cole. Like to be in that space.
Yeah.
And the fan in me was so proud
Yeah.
to be affiliated
Yeah.
with Cole World, with everything Jermaine Cole related.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to my buddies, like, I don't want to cuss on here, but Kendrick, he ain't doing shit. Like
Yeah.
Drake, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, love you to
Yeah.
death, but like
Yeah.
Cole is the chosen one.
Right.
And then he apologized.
The apology
at
was
Dreamville
weird
Fest.
to me.
And I'm just like, I understand. Like the almost 30-year-old in me is like, that was so
This
mature.
Man said, almost 30 old.
But
You
I
make me
want,
feel old.
I want malice. I want smoke.
Yeah.
Like I don't want. Like this is a a competitive space. Like
It
to
is.
me, I love J. Cole, but he just forfeited his big 3 card.
I slick feel the same way.
Really?
I think the apology was beautiful. It was kind, but this is a competitive sport. Imagine Mike Tyson and Holyfield, and they both feel like they the greats, and then Tyson, when they standing next to each other, Tyson's like, "Hey man, look, I'm so sorry. I don't even want to fight you, bro. Like let's go have a picnic, man, in Coolidge Park, bro."
Now, granted, this is me being a little bit trying to read between the lines.
Yeah.
What I really believe is that Cole being cool with the two, he heard their diss records.
You think he heard Drake's?
He heard Drake's and he heard Cole's, and he was just like, "Nah, I'm not about that life. Like, we can."
So you think he's stepping out to let Drake and Kendrick just go?
Let's go one-on-one.
Yeah, I'm not. This
Kendrick won't smoke.
Yeah, Kendrick won't smoke. Drake won't smoke.
Why? I think Drake is so big. I feel like he has the most to lose out of all of
I
them.
don't know, man.
Drake is different. Like
Yeah.
I love Cole. I love Kendrick, but like in
What's your thoughts on
Ghana, they might not know who Cole is.
What's your thoughts on
They
Drake?
know Drake. You know
What's
what
your
I'm
thoughts on
saying?
Drake? 'Cause this is an ongoing debate.
Yeah, man. Look, you ain't gonna get me.
I'm listening.
Y'all ain't gonna get me. Look, y'all ain't gonna get me in trouble, man.
This is an ongoing debate.
I love Drake. I think he's super talented, and I love the team. I know some things, but I don't know if it's wise to say it on here because it's like some industry things.
Yeah, well, here's my thing. It's just from a talent music standpoint. He gonna hate me for this, but I believe Drake is, for lack of my full understanding of the English language, I'm a mathematician by trade.
Yeah.
I think Drake is, for lack of better words, average. And what I mean by average, he's the most he's the most relatable.
All right,
I think he's a very relatable person. He's not about the streets, but he's not like so far removed from the streets.
Right.
So I think he relates to all walks of life.
So you're not saying average
As in,
music.
like,
You're
yeah.
just saying he's relatable.
He's relatable.
Got you.
And because I don't regard Drake as like this great lyricist, in my opinion, but and maybe it's just me being biased. I'm a Nas, Jay-Z, Common. Those are my favorite rappers, our hip hop artists.
Yeah.
And I know people always be like, "Oh, Drake got bars," and I'll be like, his bars don't hit me the way a Nas bar would hit me, or
What's a drop a Nas bar that moves you?
Damn, you put me on the spot.
Because I will say I think Drake got a lot of bars.
You do?
Yeah, for
All right,
sure.
so I asked everybody.
Talk to him,
Drake
Genesis.
has Drake.
When I-
Drake has a
Genesis.
lot of bars,
when
bro.
I posed
But-
I posed this question to everybody that talks about Drake.
Right.
Give me a Drake bar that you just like that's what's up.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, one of them. Which album?
Just any. Just give me a bar that just sticks out in your mind.
There was one he was talking about when he signed a deal with Jordan, and he was like, and Mike Will made the track, and he was like, it was on a Future. So I'm trying to tie it in with your
I feel
homie.
amazing. I can call Michael.
I could tell Mike, and then the Mike Will
Yes.
made it, and then the Mike Will make it.
No, he was like, "Oh my gosh."
He said, I just signed a deal. Something.
And I feel amazing. I can call Mike and Jordan up, and Mike will make it. I'm a young.
I'm a young. Then Mike will make it. That was crazy.
Because I do have a couple of Drake bars. Like my favorite Drake bars was on So Far Gone when he said, but I mean this is on some ignorant stuff. But he was like, I just see my ex girl talking to my
Next girl.
talking to the girl that I'm fucking right now. I was like,
I mean, nobody can deny Drake got bars.
he got swag. He got swag. He got charisma.
Give me a Nas, and I love Nas. Nas is in my top 10
I can't
for
give
sure.
you an exact line, but one of the lines that stuck out to me was he was a feature and he was like he said something about Jesus sniffing something.
I do think Nas bars to me go harder than Drake.
Okay.
Because
and that's all I want to say.
But Drake got bars.
Drake,
But Nas, you know, this is like 95 Nas.
Yeah.
He's like Freedom of Jail, clips inserted, babies being born, same time my man is murdered, the beginning and the end, as far as rap. And he's just, it's like a storyteller.
Yeah, and so, and that's all I be saying. It's like, I grew up, I grew up off
Drake's still cold though.
I'm not taking that from him.
Yeah.
Drake
Drake's
can
still
make
cold.
songs. He's a great choreographer of songs. Or a writer of songs.
He's a hit maker, Mike.
He is.
He's a hit maker, Mike.
I'm not gonna take that from him.
Why do a lot of people hate Drake?
You know why?
I don't get it.
I don't hate Drake.
The reason why people hate LeBron James
It's because he's so good.
Been so good for so long.
Okay, that's what it is.
That's why. You think about this.
I mean, you live enough. You live enough as a hero. You eventually be the villain.
And we talked about this earlier, but the reason that Drake really does have much more to lose is because Kendrick can vanish for 5 years and come back and it's like, oh my God, he's returned.
Well, I also
Drake has to stay relevant every year.
I look at Kendrick. It might be controversial.
Let's hear it.
I look at Kendrick and Drake like this. Drake is liquor. Kendrick is wine. Kendrick gets better over time. Drake is like, if you trying to get messed up, fucked up, drunk, you gonna take shots and he gonna be in the moment. Well, Kendrick, all his stuff, what you call, what you say?
Golden Corral and the Mid-Steppers? Did you listen to Golden Corral and the Mid-Steppers?
To me, that album is going.
Which makes niggas on me like, phew.
The older you get,
Come
dog,
on,
it's
bro.
gonna grow on you.
That album is garbage. That album is lackluster.
Now, you talking about the last Kendrick project? Yeah, I listened to it. I thought it was hard.
Bro, when you put, I will take For All the Dogs over that album right now.
You know, it's now, I would say, I don't think the album was designed to like listen to in a club or in a lounge. I think it was designed almost more like an audio book.
No,
so
like,
I enjoyed it.
I will be honest. When you put Kendrick's first two projects versus Drake's first two projects, Kendrick wins in a landslide.
I think if you got that album on, you got the fire lit at the Chateau Marmont. I think the Kendrick album is a vibe. I think if you trying to, like you said, you're in a lounge, you vibing, you got some ladies and some friends, some gentlemen, everybody cool.
To me, it's like,
then you might throw on For All
like
My Dogs, like the Drake
It's like
joint.
listening to Nas versus Jay-Z. Jay-Z at a time was.
Who did you pick over them? Nas or Jay-Z?
I picked Nas.
Who did you pick?
Jay-Z.
Cal over here.
Cal, who did you pick?
Cal picked Jay-Z.
Jay-Z?
That's a real statement.
That's a real statement.
It's a real statement.
So who'd y'all pick over Kanye or Drake?
I pick Ye all day.
Because, you know, they butt heads too.
I pick Ye.
I love Kanye. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am today without Kanye, but I'm still going Drake.
Drake?
Yeah.
Drake?
For the viewers and the listeners out there, we got Chuck Trey, also the Air, also Chuck Moore, also Charles Moore, also Wesley Charles Moore the second. we got my homeboy. Y'all have heard him before. We got Chuck in here, and then we also have as always we got Kyle here. But I'm of the opinion that I went with Nas, man.
Is a better artist.
Yeah.
Than Drake.
So
Drake is hella talented. Like
Yeah.
I said, I think Ye is maybe a little bit more all encompassing as far as artistry goes.
yeah.
They both have great teams and make great work. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. I like both of them.
I've enjoyed Kanye's visuals maybe a little bit better than Drake's.
Got you.
Hey, let's start to wrap this up. So Miggy,
Yeah.
You got a quick. I'm trying to look at your notes.
Yeah.
So let's end it here. So hip hop is at a weird space right now.
Yep.
When it comes to hip hop, why is it set up the way that it is? Why is beef and sometimes violence cheered and celebrated so much in other versus other genres?
Yeah.
And I guess what you're getting at is basically the simple fact of like, why is it that you know what you explain?
No, I'm just saying, like, in just general, because, like, we just talked about it. Hip hop's a competitive space, but you don't see, Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears like
Yes, you
going
did.
one on one.
Yes, you did.
But not to
You
this.
you weren't old enough to remember that, but yes, you did.
But they're not going to pull up and shoot no.
Yeah, that's true too.
But or like Morgan Wallen and like Chris Stapleton ain't getting into it in Nashville for real, are they?
Right.
No.
Even though
Nah,
Morgan just caught
nah.
a felony for throwing a chair.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so they wilding too?
Yeah.
Then?
They wild just as us, but I think part of it is part of that to answer, in my opinion, part of that question. The answer to that question is who's handling the situation.
Yeah.
I think with us black people, sex and controversy sells.
For sure.
And I think we love to see people at odds with each other. With others, I think it's like, okay, we'll let this controversy sell a little bit, but then we'll keep it on wax.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
I think it's business. So if people are buying things that speak about death and destruction, they're gonna keep selling it.
Yeah.
I think if people stop buying it, if every girl in the neighborhood was like, we're not gonna sleep with any guys unless they got a library at home, you'll see more people with libraries. But since they don't, then
I feel the
guys,
same
people don't care.
way.
But
I
they do
feel
care
like-
about
I feel
Lambos
like
and Ferraris and Hellcats.
I feel like, when they talk about, oh, hip hop is destructive to the black community, and I'm like, all right, well, stop buying it. Don't support it. And then you see people where they'll, in rebellion, they'll go buy 100 CDs and smash them. I'm like, it's like what Eazy-E said when he was in NWA. He was like, I don't care. You can do whatever you want to with the CD. I still made my money because you bought it.
You bought it.
And so that's always what I've said is like, if you like T.I. said it best, if you really want to change the scene of hip hop music, go into the community and start changing it there, and then you'll start seeing a change.
Trickle down effect.
Yeah, it's just you know how it is.
Yeah.
On the way here, I was listening to Young Dolph. You know what I'm saying? Like
One of my favorite rappers of all time.
So like, even as much as, but to me, when I listen to Gotti or Dolph or, I don't really listen to a whole lot of gangster stuff.
Yeah,
That's about or
I love
some of J.O.
I
stuff.
listen
or-
to everything, but
yeah, look, so when I listen to them, I feel like I'm listening to a journalist that's in the war. That's so.
that's dope.
I find a lot of beauty in it. He talks about stuff that I wouldn't know as intimately as him, and I like it because he's clever with it. But then you got some people that you can tell like, this feels a little different. This feels like it just don't feel like a journalist. It feels just a little different. I think too much of anything is bad. So I think if we got everybody talking about killing and drugs and all this crazy stuff, everybody
we should have a good balance.
we should have balance.
Yeah.
To give even the people back in the neighborhood an option.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the guys might just follow in what the girls want. So if all the girls want to be with the guy that looks like Little Baby, or shout out to Little Baby, love his music
Shout out to
too.
Lil
But
Baby.
if that's who, if all the brothers gotta be like that, then what about the guy that want to be an engineer or a scientist or gotta want to do a podcast, or they gotta play for a sports, but you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
like,
real
or a
talk.
restaurant. Like, there's homies that want to do that, but if everyone's giving attention to the same
Yeah.
kind of
I agree.
person, the
I
same
think-
characters, and it's like,
And will this be our last parting shots before I get into the before you eat? But for me, this is how I look at it, because you talked about Kendrick and you called him the Golden Corral and the what was it?
Mid steppers. Yes, sir.
For me,
Shout out to Kendrick. Kendrick
yeah,
fire.
I love Kendrick.
Yeah.
He's the third best.
But for me, here's my take.
Yeah.
And this is why I look at people a certain way. This will give you a little insight on me.
Okay.
If you can present a positive message in a way that's catchy and cool, and people like, I know you don't like the like pew. I thought that was dope.
I love that song.
But
Kodak made that song.
But yeah, he did. But
I love Kodak.
But the
Kodak's my guy.
the way that he was able to merge the two types of
sounds,
the two types of sounds, the two types of walks of life, because Kendrick's in a different space than Kodak was, is, and I guess was now, because he's coming out of this doing a couple of perks a day and all that stuff. I think I value that a little bit more, because you're not trying to stay in this. Like, I value growth, and when I see it, this is also why I have a very perplexed viewpoint on Nas, because you have what was his first album? Illmatic.
Illmatic, yeah.
You have Illmatic, and then the rest of them felt like steps back, and then he started to take steps forward.
Stillmatic was fire.
Stillmatic was fire.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like, You Can Hate Me Now and all these songs were like, I felt like he was still lyrically.
He was trying to get to the bag.
Yeah. And so for me, it was like, because I look at it like, this is why I value Nas over Jay, is Jay made Blueprint. Reasonable Doubt. Reasonable Doubt, one of my favorite albums of all time. Regrets is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
But then after Reasonable Doubt, he went more commercial, where Nas kind of tried to stay in that lane, and then he was like, all right, well, this is what y'all want to listen to. I'm going to make all these records. So
Who's the greatest rapper of all time?
He's from New York.
He's going to say Biggie.
It's Notorious. B.I.G. for sure.
Who you going to say? I'm going to say Jay-Z.
For me, it's what mood I'm in today. So for me, it would be, I'm gonna say, I'll give you my top three. Tupac.
No, just number one. That's too easy to spread them out.
For me, it would be Dre. Three stacks.
Three Stacks, yes.
3 Stacks would be
I saw him perform a couple weeks ago.
Right, word.
Yeah, he performed in a little bitty church. It was 40 of us.
Oh, wow.
He had a laser shooting down into water. Oh, cut it out.
Can I just be like your bag boy or something, bro? Like,
it was a phenomenal show.
I bet, man.
They lit incense. They let us yell, and during the middle of the show, we made animal noises. He accompanied it. They made up everything.
So I'll tell you this.
Him and his band literally played everything off the top of their head.
Everybody got their last statements out?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll tell y'all this. For those who don't know, if you follow me, you know this. I'm big into CrossFit. And I've been training to make it to regionals and things of that nature. And in doing so, one thing as part of my routine is listening. One thing I've learned in doing CrossFit is I need to calm down before I go into performance mode.
Yeah.
The new Blue Sun is what I listen to before I work out. And I listen to it song by song. And when I get to the night I thought I was what is it? I forget the title, but he was basically saying
exactly what you're talking
the
about.
night I turned into a panther or something like that. For me, that was that's like, I've literally grown up listening to Big Boy, and like matured listening to Big Boy and I mean not Big Boy, Andre and things of that nature. So I always think he's like a dope MC. So he's always gonna be my favorite.
That's what's up.
So we're gonna end this off. First of all, Genesis, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being willing and putting us on the spot and getting on the show, man. I hope to have you back on. I hope you're a reoccurring guest. I hope,
Yeah, man, I'm always free.
I hope to grow this relationship with all of us. So here at Different Thought, we do this thing at the end of the show called Before You Eat. And I'm going to give you a little background on it. So Before You Eat is the acronym BYE, bye, because it's the end of the show. Growing up, my parents used to, well, my mother mainly, shout out to Angela.
My mom named Angela too.
I know.
Yeah.
I found that out.
Really?
Yeah. All
Check
three
it
of
out.
us. Yeah.
Man, all right.
And so, even more, his mom named Angela, my mom named Angela. Our parents were married on the same day,
What day was your parents married?
July 3rd.
Okay. That would have been crazy. Oh, second.
Excuse me, July 2nd. Sorry.
Okay.
July 2nd.
That would have been crazy. I was like July 2nd. too.
July
Then it's
2nd.
like,
We're
oh,
both.
July
shit.
2nd.
We're both. I'm a junior, but he's a junior, but a second. He's a second.
I'm a
you know.
junior.
And we did not grow. We were not born in the same city.
Yeah.
I was born in Alabama. He was born here, and somehow when my
We-
parents moved here, we started playing on the same baseball team.
Yeah.
I was like,
We
really
grew up
small.
literally 5 minutes from each other.
That's
now
cool.
Now we live 5 minutes from each other.
That's cool.
it's so crazy. But anyways, I forgot where I was going with it. But
Before you eat. or
before you
something.
eat, so growing up, my mother, when we came to the dinner table, she used to make us come with a Black History fact. And it couldn't be like the easy Martin Luther King or something like that. You had to go do your research. And so when I started this show, I always wanted to make sure I leave the listener with a Black History fact. So today's Black History fact, in the grand scheme of our brother Genesis and being an artist, a poet, I chose another poet that I actually got to meet and actually have a real long conversation with, and that's Nikki Giovanni.
Oh yeah, that's my homegirl.
Yeah. I got to. She came and spoke when I was at Tennessee Tech, and I was a grad assistant. She came and spoke, and I got the privilege to go pick her up from the Nashville airport, and I rode with her for 2 hours, and we just talked.
Yeah, she good people.
She is real good people. So for those who don't know, Nikki Giovanni is commonly praised as one of the best African-American poets emerging from the 1960s Black Power and Black Arts movement. Her early poems were collected in the late 60s and 70s and are seen as radical as and more militant than her later work. So for all you that don't know who Nikki Giovanni is, I always challenge you all to go out there and do your research on Nikki and find out more about her and her work and things of that nature. I think she just actually had a special that came out. I forget the name of the special on HBO, but you should go check it out if you haven't. Phenomenal person, phenomenal woman, phenomenal Black woman, and deserves all the flowers and praises. But as always, I always challenge my listeners at the end of the day, our listeners at the end of the day, to think, do, be different. Thank you for listening to Different Thought Podcast.